alongside
Doug Miller, Core Nutritionals.
Ask the Bosses. It's a segment from Doug's channel, which you should watch. I'm going to link it down below. Go there, subscribe, and be sure to make some hateful comments. Anyway, this one comes from Fluff the Buff.
That's a good name.
Fluff the Buff. Fluff the Buff. Good exercise for back thickness and back width. Besides deadlifts, because of lower back issues.
All right. Well, first, let's just give the easy answer. Deadlifts are the king.
They're the king.
They are the king. So
both of us will agree with that.
Deadlift. I think heavy barbell rows are, second, but I don't think they're even really close to deadlifts. In terms of back width, I actually believe deadlifts are great. I mean, people don't really realize that a deadlift is an overall back movement, and it helps really develop your back. I remember, this is kind of weird, but I remember Jay Cutler. He really had to bring his back up to kind of compete with Ronnie. And if you went back and looked at what he did to bring his back up, which he definitely did, he wasn't focused on really slow and controlled squeezing pull downs. He was doing like 4 or 5 row exercises every back. So I actually think that row exercises are just as good or better than like your pull downs for lat width. It's overall, I think you can stimulate, you can go heavier, you can stimulate more fibers. So the notion that just doing a ton of pull downs is for back width, I think you're missing the boat. I think you would really benefit to throwing in some more rowing movements.
Yeah.
But in regards to deadlifts, like he said, besides deadlifts. And so that's a real big issue.
Here's the issue. There are 7 primal movements, including rotation, squatting, and bending. Deadlifting is a primal movement. It's something that you need to be able to do to be a functioning human being. If you cannot deadlift, you need to address that issue. You need to either go see a movement specialist, someone who's maybe exo certified, someone like a Dr. Stu in Illinois. I mean, I don't know many others. And you need to fix it. Maybe it's your hip mobility, maybe you have weaknesses, but you need to figure out why you can't deadlift and why you have those lower back issues. The first thing you want to do with someone with lower back issues is you want to get them into some form of the deadlift, and that starts with a lot of things. What I'm guessing is you have poor core health. First test is, can you hold a plank for 1 minute? If you can't hold a plank for 1 minute, then you're ready to start on your way. If you can do that, there are things called wall-facing deadlifts, where it teaches you proper form to drop your butt, strengthens your back. As far as deadlifts go, you start light, you work on the form, and you work on everything else. Foam rolling, hip mobility, it all plays a role. But your problem is that you're looking at training around a problem, which is just going to make your weaknesses and your underdevelopments and your problems worse. If you, like for example, if you do a movement wrong your entire life, to change that movement pattern is going to be hard. And also when you have a bad back and you're not able to deadlift, what is that going to lead to? Compensation. When you compensate, for example, if you have a bad left ankle, what's going to hurt? Your right knee. You always want to look at the joint below the joint that hurts to see why the hell it hurts. So what I'm saying to you is, instead of looking for exercise to develop your back because you can't deadlift, figure out why the fuck you can't deadlift and fix it.
With that being said, a lot of other exercises you can incorporate, and like you said, you don't have to deadlift 500 pounds right off the bat. 130, work up to 135. I mean, even if that's heavy for you, I mean, like, you have to start somewhere. I always tell people, unless you have a real back issue, like a really terrible busted disc or something like that, where you need to probably have surgery.
But then you shouldn't be doing any of the other shit anyway.
Exactly. Like, you need to address that specific problem. But I mean, like, unless you have some real severe problem, start simple. Start from the basics. Just because you used to be able to deadlift 600 pounds doesn't mean that necessarily now you're going to get right back there. Start with working up to 225. And that might be where you have to be, but getting back up to, where potentially you once were, that's the key, is the slow progression. Don't make stupid jumps. Don't try to set records when you're just fighting an injury.
Yeah, so the main issue that's why I wanted to answer this question, because stop trying to put a Band-Aid on it, fix it. That's not a game.